look sometimes, because sometimes there have been moments during these 36 hours when I was talking, I didn't know if anybody was listening. I was just around. I didn't of course, I made hundreds of mistakes that I said wrong or something. So it was definitely not a slick museum presentation or anything of the like. But
That's, yeah, very normal. It's a very intense project, so for sure that's normal, I think.
okay. But anyhow, so oh yes, there's one more thing I forgot. See, there's one more thing that I really forgot, and that is to embed. I keep promising people that I should do that. So let me do this. Actually, I almost feel like showing you just to show off, but it doesn't have to be. Um, and that is, if you go to www.skytime.org, you will now see the live stream that we just did with you and Robert and Ava.
Mhm.
But each time I start a new meeting, I get a new meeting, I have to start a new meeting on YouTube.
Mhm.
And that means I have to do a new embedding too.
Makes sense.
Yes,
Oh my God.
yes. These are the things that you're figuring out when you like get all these things done for the first time, and you're like, oh,
For
okay,
sure.
all right.
My respect.
Thank you, thank you. And again, I could think of anything that I want to, but as long as people like you and Robert and Eva don't come together and actually make it happen, I can jump up and down, which is nice. But you know, it's really all of us making it happen, and I think that is an important part.
Right. Definitely.
And
That'd be
that is
good to
what
have it.
I'm very happy with, that there are so many more people. Last year, I was more or less on my own, and a few people said, "Oh, hello, how nice to see you, and how inspiring." And this year, all of you are coming together, and that makes a huge difference.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
Okay, now let me try if it actually works. Yes, looking good. Looking very good. Yes. You see, that's the nice thing about practice. Practice, practice, practice. As the
Exactly.
time-honored German saying goes, 4,000 years of German culture, practice makes perfect. And here's Robert. Okay, good. Okay. Well, since the two of you are still here, if you wish to unmute yourself and put on your videos, we can continue a last little bit. I was going to show and share your websites because I thought it's so interesting that all of you have these amazing websites. So let me see where I can find that one. They're right there. And if I share, dum 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 dum, boom 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 boom, there we go. Oh, and I have to keep on recording. All right. So welcome to the second part and the last big part of today's live stream, which is centered around New York and New York City, and Turtle Island and Mannahatta, the place of many islands, and many other places with First Nation names that natives know much better than I do, so I will not even begin. But to know that this is where we go on territory that has a very recent history. And before we go all into that, I wanted to keep on continuing a little bit from what we just did before. We had a beautiful rendition of Taiji by Marita Schwanke, Robert Chokro, and Eva Kartzak. And just before we were cut off because of the Zoom limitations, uh, I was going to share, and let me see how I can find that. Oh, I'm sharing it already. That's right, you can already see it. So there you are. Here are the three websites. Here's Robert Chokro's website. As you can see, it is a long, it's almost as like like in Taiji. I keep thinking of Taiji as a library, like the sequence is a library of knowledge. Like sailors, Austronesian sailors. Yesterday I talked about Austronesian sailors who have a mental compass and they have a compass that is related to the boat where they are and they know where the stars are and they just with that navigation they knew how to navigate and to find their way across those many tiny islands in the Pacific Ocean, and just with that they keep finding their way and they settled this an enormous area from Madagascar all the way to Rapa Nui near in front of Chile. So it is an enormous stretch and in a relatively short time, and with means that everybody else would consider, well, because of the power of the mind. So I feel that with Robert and your website, you have a similar collection, Robert, of articles, insights. There's it. I mean, it would take people a really long time to go through it. Marita, I'm sure you've tried before, and then at some point just had to give up because there's so much of it, right?
Yeah.
So to have a repository like this is incredibly valuable. What I wanted to share here, especially, is Robert, you're still making videos, and you're putting out videos at the last one, the recent one, just at 8 hours ago. So that's like today, not so long ago. So you're one of these prolific people. I had the two others were visual artists, one from Taiwan and one visual artist from the Netherlands. And you guys all of you have this amazing output that I can just lift my peruke off and my little wig and say, all my respect. I mean, that's really special. That's really very, very special. So there we go. I think I have. Oh, I had them all in the chat, but of course I have to put the links in the chat again because we lost that part. So let me do that as well. Robert, Marita, is there anything else that you would like to bring in on that still came in after the break that you feel is good to like that you still would like to share before we go into the jam?
Yeah, well, one other thing is that what I learned from Elaine, which is something that has been tremendously valuable to me and for myself, but also in my teaching of Tai Chi and movement, is seeing inside yourself and knowing where the movement comes from. She would always emphasize that and show that movement can come from a whole host of places in the body. And some of those places are not so good for the body to do, and others are much better. And to know that, and to always know the difference. And then once you achieve that yourself, you can see it in other people. You can really see inside the other person. But you have to achieve it for yourself first. And that is a very valuable thing. And I had that in other teachers too, that they knew that. But it started with Elaine for me and still persists.
And so then I'm immediately thinking of the kinetic awareness session that Marita and I did in Brussels at Parts together with Yuna Masson-Cariou. And that was a very new, I don't know how new that experience for you was, but that was the beginnings. So for you, it's the other way around. You started with all these martial arts and Tai Chi, and now you got a taste of what Elaine's work could be like.
Right, right. I mean, I started before I started with Tai Chi, I also started to work with Eva, who was also very inspired by Elaine Summers. So I felt a lot of Elaine Summers' teachings. I did differently a little bit, I guess. But yeah, just this constant search for ease in the body and space and flow as well. I think this is why I was searching for practices like Tai Chi, for more somatic work, for yeah, I got interested in all these artists that were so present in the 70s because for me they really started to understand and open doors also in the realm of dance to the body in a way that hasn't been so present before. And this for me was something that I was really searching also because of I was dealing with some injuries, so I was also just trying to heal myself basically, and the frustration with doctors that I just gave up on them basically at some point, because in the end I guess the best thing is if you can be your own doctor, if you can be so aware of your body that you can feel inside where it's something unbalanced and what is the cause of this unbalance and how can you find the balance to it again. And for me, all these practices really are helping to just basically learn to listen to my own body better and understand more what it needs, basically. Yeah. So it's an ongoing research. It really is. Because also, the more I keep learning, the more I feel I can go deeper. And I also keep changing. So things are also need to keep adjusting. And it's like when we stand, like we don't stand still. We have this small dance, Steve Paxton would say, keep going on, that we are always in movement, and that's so beautiful and so strong because that's what really is there. I think it's movement that exists. Actually, stillness, I think, probably doesn't exist at all. I don't know, because molecules are always in movement. So if you really go deep, 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 I think that's what it comes down to. Yeah. Oh, you're muted, Thomas.
Oh, I had it the other way around. I'm sorry. I thought that I had muted myself and had stayed out of the conversation. My apologies. Um, my father, in his later years, he was a physicist, so he was all into physics. And I think at some point I should share his website, Electric Universe, because he realized that the fourth force of nature should be electricity that had not been incorporated in traditional astronomy the way that he felt it should be. And so he told me about what happens when you go to near 0 Kelvin, which is like that there's almost no movement of molecules. And it's very hard to achieve. It's very expensive. It's very difficult to get there. But of course, because that's what makes it so interesting to some scientists who say, oh, that's what we want to try out. How can we go to as near stillness as possible? But it really means, as you said, that not even the quarks almost don't move anymore. So it is very, very small level of going on.
Mm.
I'm remembering the one part that reminds me about Elaine's work with kinetic awareness is that it's always both. And with Frances, we have a perfect other master teacher who knows this work inside and out because she's been teaching it for the last 3 decades, 4 decades. I stopped counting. That with kinetic awareness, both are important. So on the one hand, it's important that I work with my own self, my physical self, and my sense of self and what I need. And the other is that empowers me to work with people who can help me understand certain things that I just don't have time to study. I don't have time to study how my blood works or how the chemicals go or certain things about, that some people really study and they write studies about it and they go for it. And it's another aspect of existence that is good to know. So I remember when I had a frozen shoulder, for example, I had two advices, one from a surgeon, which was turned out to be very good because it was a good surgeon who said, well, you can wait 6 months to get an operation. And if you get an operation, you will never be as structurally strong enough as you were before. And the other is an osteopath who's like down the corner from where I live, basically, and who's a wonderful osteopath and who helped me to get the training motion because he could feel what was necessary. But he also had the physical knowledge that I don't have in such detail. So then we come back to, bringing the things together that we know and be able to connect it in a way that makes sense for us and that really works for us. So, sorry, I'm getting all philosophical about it, but so be it. Okay. So, for the people who are new here, I'm sharing all these websites of Robert Chakro. Here's his YouTube channel. He just posted something 8 hours ago. So, Robert, you beat us all, I think, in terms of creativity, of output part. I found this beautiful webpage of Eva Karzag, which I've shared in the chat here. One more thing I would like to share before we go into the jam is this page, which I will also share afterwards. These are two friends of mine from Finland, and they made this beautiful piece called Origo, which is a dance piece, a film dance, very much in the spirit of Elaine in some ways. They normally don't share it online because they say it has to be done in a certain way under certain conditions. And so they want to make sure that when they show it in a theater or in a venue, that the venue meets the standards. But for this event, they made an exception. They said, okay, we will stream it for 24 hours. So for 24 hours, you can actually watch this online. And there are instructions of how you actually can best put up your space. And I highly recommend everybody who's watching right now to take those 16 minutes. I will share the chat. I will share the link in the chat off and on together with the instructions. And for me, it will be 8 o'clock in the morning, which is the last moment that I can actually see it, because then they will stop. So for people in the US, I would say probably during the remains of the day, whenever you have time, if you're in the US or on Turtle Island. If you have time there, then for the time of day when you can. All right. That's all I wanted to say from my part. I think we're ready to go and jam. So it's time for jam. That means we can dance, we can move. Speaking, I would encourage, I didn't put any breakout rooms, sorry, but okay, so then because I didn't program breakout rooms, that means that we'll have to keep ourselves muted or chat with each other. If you want to direct chat, that's always possible. I have prepared some works by artists who actually contributed to them. One of them is with us. I hope she's still there. Yes, Katherine Liberovskaya, she's still there. Yay! Hello, there we are. What a beautiful sign. And Katherine sent us a video that she made, which is absolutely stunning and wonderful. And I think it would be a perfect beginning for the jam because it gets you in this mood. And the music is by Phill Niblock. And it's one of these amazing collaborations that are just wonderful. I think it's a 6-minute. Katherine, if you want to say anything about it, you are welcome to unmute yourself, start your video in every way before we go into it, or you can do it afterwards, as however you wish. But you're more than welcome.
Sure. Just I don't know why I can't get my camera. Oh, here it is. Maybe this one. There we go. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, I'm here in Canada, and I have all the I have all of the curtains closed because it's also like 36 degrees here, so I'm hiding from the sun. The only thing to say is that this is an interesting piece that I made after Phil's death, and last fall I was invited to a festival to present the last works by Phill at this festival in Germany. And that festival happens to be in Donau-Eschingen, Germany, which is actually the oldest experimental film music festival in the world. And actually Stravinsky used to premiere works there, and also Stockhausen, etc. Anyway, and that place happens to be the source of the Danube. And so it's just a small stream there. And while I was there, and I found out it was the source of the Danube later, but there's like a little stream that goes around the town with little bridges, and I was very much attracted by these algae or grasses in them, and I always have my video camera with me, and so I shot that. And then as I was leaving, I found out that place is the source of the Danube, and Phill loved the Danube very much. And actually in 2008 we had done a residency together called European Sound Delta, and this was a residency with two, I think, one houseboat on the Danube and one houseboat on the Rhine that I guess they converged in Strasbourg. And they would invite artists, they were not big houseboats, to stay for a segment. So we selected to stay in the delta of the Danube. And so the sound is, so it's not music, it's a sound collage piece with sounds collected in the delta of the Danube. So that's why it's called Source and Delta, because the video is from the source of the Danube, and the delta and the sound is from the delta of the Danube. So, and it's just a small piece of whatever, 6 minutes or something. So very contemplative. So enjoy.
We shall certainly. I realized before I haven't introduced Francis Becker yet. Francis, you have a very important position in this whole being because you are the actual director of the entire series of the Centennial events. So everybody, meet Francis Becker, who on whose shoulders, heavy shoulders, rests the entire thing, the entire Centennials, from the very beginning to the very end. And whenever it's going to be, October, December, we will see. Katherine and I are still planning. Uh, Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much. But really, she really deserves it. She deserves all the credit because we both have been working this for a very long time, and now it's finally happening. So, and Frances is right now in New York City, and Robert, she will be performing at Lincoln Center on July 27th. So if you can make it, I know Catherine, you're busy. You have something else. I remember you telling me about. But if you can make it, I think it would be wonderful if you could come all the way down and see Elaine's Hidden Forest. But this time restaged by. So what I'm doing with Skytime here, Francis is going to do with Hidden Forest, another late work by Elaine's. And of course it will be different. It will be Francis's interpretation. But that's the beauty. So we will see how Francis restages it and how she does it differently and how what her take on this will be. Okay, enough said. Yeah.
No, and I just want to say what an amazing job Thomas has done with I'm so impressed with this 24-hour or 36-hour stream. I mean, wow, you've done an amazing job. Congratulations. I don't know, you might notice me there sometimes. I think I wrote to you in advance. I'm often just connecting like a radio because I have all sorts of other things to do. So I'm in and out and I just have my sound and video off, but you know, I follow as much as I can. But anyways, I've done a lot of live stream events during COVID, and I know how complicated it is. So I'm very impressed by what you did. And Elaine is so lucky to have you. And Francis, of course. So thank you.
Okay, well, what can I say? Let me start right away. I think the words, before we go into words more, let me start source and delta. And that will be the opening of the jam. And that means that I will ask everybody to mute themselves. I will also mute myself. And then we will go on. And whatever happens, happens. And any movement counts. And anything we do counts. It's right there. Okay. So, there we go. I will put it on large. Actually, I will make it really large. Let me make sure that I put it on high fidelity and stereo. Okay. And we begin.
Mm. That was beautiful.
Very much. I kept wanting to dance with it. That's why I started dancing in the beginning.
Yes, it is very much that way.
But it's especially beautiful when I hear it on headphones, because then I get the fullness of this. It's like a bath of sound, just absolutely wonderful. And I love the colors. It's just one of
Yeah,
these things that I could watch. So officially, this is jam time. That means we can move any way we want, or we can talk any way we want. I have 3 more images by Jean-Ulrick Désert, or we can just let it be and get to the next thing whenever that is. But I don't remember the program right now. But what I found this room, I'm reminded now of this installation that Katherine showed of her work with Phill in Berlin last year. And I sat through the whole thing, almost the entire thing, or I tried to. I couldn't because it was too intense even for me. But it was so physical and so all over encompassing that I will hope more people will see and hear and enjoy and feel and experience Katherine's work for now and for the coming future, foreseeable time. Yeah. Katherine, is there a way that people can access this any other time than in a gallery, or is this something that people can see online, or have you already thought about, or is this too early to decide, or will you send that if you have it and then we can send it around to people?
This one doesn't exist online yet, no. Other things do, but I'm not even home right now, so I don't have the links with me. But I can send you them. I mean, like what you saw in Berlin, that exists online.
Oh.
So
Very different piece from this one, but still very, very impressive. So cool.
well, but that's in Berlin, that was 3 pieces. It's a trilogy. But yeah, I could send you the link to that. But this, no, it's too recent. I just finished this like 2 months ago.
So there we go. Isn't it wonderful that we are in a live stream and we get all these works? So this artist from Taiwan, he has actually joined the live stream on Instagram. His name is Kraphone, and he's a Taiwanese visual artist, multimedia artist. And he's just like Robert Chukro. He's this prolific person who puts out one video after the other, and each one is very, very well made. And he dances on the beaches of Taiwan, of Taichung, where he lives.
Yeah, I saw him yesterday.
Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, that was great.
And that was work that he made specifically, that he gave like specifically for this event. So again, thanks Katherine for giving this, for using us as a platform. This is exactly what should happen. So there we go. Awesome.
Okay, let's see more stuff.
Okay, let's see more stuff. Then let's see. Okay. The next thing I want to show are 3 images. Let me first get this out. And then, oops. Where's the third? Come on, third panel. Don't be shy. Whoops. Well, let me start with the first ones, the first 2 ones, because then I can look for the third one while I'm sharing, and you can see this one. There's no sound this time. These are 2 panels, 2 of the 9 panels of the Waters over Quisqueya. So Quisqueya is one of the many names for the island that Spanish people know as Hispaniola. So Santo Domingo is on, and of course Haiti is on this island. And Jean-Ulrick Désert is a Haitian American visual artist and conceptual artist. And with his works, he usually makes works that, if you look at them the first time, you think, oh, that's very pretty. And then at some point you realize, well, there is more to it than meets the eye, because if this is correct, and if this name is correct, then that means this, and that means this. And so then you get into this wonderful amazing piece of layers and symbols and what means what. As a matter of fact, let me do something that I usually don't do, but I think that's the beautiful thing to do, especially with this work because it's so detailed. So I don't remember I don't know what these particular numbers are for, but so you can see here, because he's so deliberate, oops. And here we go. Unfortunately, I don't know which song this is from. My hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generations triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Because all I never know. Oh, it's Redemption Song, of course, by Bob Marley. It is. And unfortunately, I don't know this particular bird or what it's symbol for, but with Jean-Ulrick, you can safely assume that he thought very carefully and very meticulously about why he had something in which place and where. And this is one of these map series. So he made several maps of places. Here's the next one. Oops. Nope. Exuma Sound, Tongue of the Ocean, Crooked Island Passage, Old Bahama Channel. This morning, Eva Karczak and I did a tribute to Trisha Brown and Elaine Summers, based on Trisha Brown's sky maps, where both of us alternatingly named places that were significant for our lives. So Budapest was there, of course New York was there, Manhattan, and sometimes Eva would translate Australian names into English so that people would know that, I don't know, this meant White Island, or this meant whatever, whichever the Aboriginal language was. So in a way you could say that this is an echo of what Eva Karczak and I did this morning with the first jam, the very, very first jam, which was centered mainly on places in Asia, because it was easier for people in Asia to join with their time zones. And I had my friend Bari Kim join us from Seoul, from Jeju Island in South Korea. And Bari and I hadn't danced with each other since 2008. So go figure, that was quite a while ago. Again, if Jean-Ulrick would be here, he could tell us what, which, and why, and how it happens, and what the meaning of these are. But again, knowing him, I can safely assume that there are reasons why he put everything where it needs to be. There's a third panel that he shared with us, and I'm going to bring this up in right away in a moment from now. There we go. Come. All right. Make it a little larger so you can see better. Tabula nova insulae et maria de Caribeum. New table of islands and of the Caribbean Sea. And this, I cannot pronounce it, but I happen to know that this is very most likely Haitian Creole, the version that is somehow French-based, but it has many African flexings and much of West African grammar. And if Jean-Ulrick would be here, he could read it in. He could read it for us. Tis oiseau nan loi qui t'écoute, comme mwen songe ça, mwen gagnen la peine ka depi, jou ça, mwen gagnen la peine. Ka depuis, jou ça, despied, giye sa go. One more thing that I find noteworthy is this part down here. Let me get down there one more time. This, and I hope that Eva Karzak can see this at some point when I'm sharing the live stream. This shows the artificiality of land borders and national borders, because these are most likely areas that belong to various islands, so economic zones that belong to each of those Caribbean islands. And if I would open up the other panels, you could see the whole thing, probably. Here, this shows it actually very well. I don't happen to know which island this is. I don't know if that is supposed to be if that is a dodo, a coconut tree.
Yeah.
And again, I'm always amazed by the meticulousness of his own drawing. I mean, he draws all of these by hand, and it takes him not even that long, but he just does it so carefully and so well.
So he does them freehand.
Absolutely. This is all hand-drawn. Nothing is machinated here. It's all, at most, he will work with a projector if he needs to like make a map, and then he will draw across according to the projection. That is something he sometimes does. So he uses an image and projects it against the wall on a piece of paper, or in this case on the parchment, and he draws. But again, he has to be very careful, because one bad stroke and he can start all over again. So, and since materials are expensive, he has to be very, very careful. It's very painstaking work. And here you see in Roman letters, number 4. Oh, you know what? Let's just watch all the panels. I think it's nice to see them really see them all. Oh, this one I recognize. This is the island, Kiskaya. And I wonder if this is Judas. Does anybody recognize this image? Could this be Judas kissing Jesus and betraying him? Present-day Dominican Republic, present-day Haiti. And you see that there is no line here. He doesn't draw any particular line through the island itself, just around the waters. These might actually be Again, if my geography was better, I could tell you which islands these are, but this is how we get down all the way to South America, what is the South American continent. And number 6. This may very well be Saint Martin because of the boat, and you can see the chain and the Marianne, the French national symbol. The Black Madonna. Did you know that there's a whole community of Polish people who were sent by Napoleon as soldiers to beat down the insurrection of the local uprising of the Haitian slave revolt and the revolt. And the Polish realized, wait a second, this reminds us when we lost Poland because Poland had been annexed by Russia and Prussia and Austria just a few years prior before Napoleon sent them. So a number of Polish soldiers said, you know what, we're deserting. They deserted. They actually joined the uprising, and they fought against France in turn. And so as a gesture of thank you, they became honorary patients and honorary citizens of the Republic. And so to this day, you will, I mean, these days, because of the mixing, you will hardly see. But to this day, you will have people say, oh, yes, my great-father twice removed is Polish and was, I don't know what his name was, and came to fight here and joined the resistance. Ah, these are the various passages. Okay, so St. Lucia, Martinique, that's why the Marianne and the chain. Dominica, an island where Anne Law is. Guadeloupe. I don't know if I can find Saint Martin, Saint Martin, but it should be around here as well. Aguila. And another cruise ship. We have these large ships now in Rotterdam as well. They come and they're quite difficult, just like Venetians keep complaining about these ships because there seem to be an ecological catastrophe when they actually go into the harbor. And they don't even bring that much money because the people just come to a very near around the boat. They don't have a lot of time and then they go again. So people keep asking here like, okay, what's all this? Oops, excuse me. What is all this for? Yeah, I shouldn't complain so much. I should just show the art. That is powerful already. Panel number 7. This looks like a mangrove forest to me. Panel number 8. Ah. Muchos años después, frente al pelotón de fusilamiento, el coronel Aureliano Buendía, a bien de secular Aguela tarde, señota en... I wish my Spanish were better. And then in French. De la plus lointaine enfance, la mère te met un accord. cosmique, avec les êtres, les lieux, les planètes, les animaux, l'épice, les plantes, les pluies et les fables enchantées du monde. Ah, Reinaldo Arenas, Cuban writer, gay Cuban writer. And Derek Walcott. Brave is theirs, and the love that resembles the fragments is stronger than that love which, look, took its symmetry for granted when it was whole. Let me read this again. Break a vase, and the love that reassembles the fragments is stronger than that love which took its symmetry for granted when it was whole. Derek Walcott. Golfo Triste, Golfo de Venezuela. And panel number 9, the last of the 9 panels. Oil refineries. To me, this looks like the Dutch Caribbean, where there's plenty of oil refineries around Curaçao, especially. And okay, that's all that I can see. This must, oh, okay, there we go. So this is probably like the beginning of Venezuela and all the way down to South Africa. So this would be Guyana, Suriname, the former Dutch colony of Suriname, and then we go all the way to Brazil below. Okay, so these are the Waters of Quisqueya by Jean-Ulrick Désert. And if you want to see more of his work, go to jeanulrickdésert.com and you'll see plenty of other things. And I will do one more piece in honor of his works in 1 hour and 53 minutes, and 1 hour and under 50 minutes from now. So that will be in honor, because it will be then 2100 hours, 53 minutes, reminding of the time when there was this huge earthquake on Haiti on January 12, 2010. And the reason I'm related to it is not just because Jean-Ulrick, well, you will see why. You will see why. It has to do with the sky. It's a sky art piece, and it will fit. Okay. Let me know. From all this, I realized I completely forgot when the next schedule is, and if we already are supposed to do something else, because we promised people that we would do something else. Let's see. Ah, yes. Yes, I was going to show more. I was going to show even more. That's right. The next thing is directly from Elaine. Very directly from Elaine. So after this excursion to Jean-Ulrick, we have this one, and Francis, you've seen it many, many times, I know, and I've seen it many times, and I think it can't hurt to do it one more time. It has the music Rain Dance by Carmen Moore and the background. And so this is from an iteration of Invitation to Secret Dancers, which Elaine staged in 2005, I believe in April, at Solar One, which is a community center for about new energy, which about solar power, solar panels. So again, this was 20 years ago. And she would have various dances come together and do them in a new way. And this was, it was an invitation. And it was, I think, 2 days or at least 1 day, starting in the afternoon and going all the way until after dark, when Elaine would project Crow's Nest onto sheets that the dancers would take with them. But I've been talking long enough. You're right, Francis. Let me just start the whole thing and do music and share the sound. Thank you. That's what I actually really like about doing these things with people, when I can see what people do, because it helps me to it gives me energy to go on and do something right. Okay, so without too much further ado, audio options. No. Let me just, you know what? Let me just start playing it. If there's no music, please let me know, and I will try again. Can you hear music? No? Okay, then I'll do it again. Then I'll stop the share, and I will share it again, but this time with music. Thank you, Francis. Can you hear it now? Yes. Okay. I don't think I ever listened to this piece of music with earphones before like this. It's a special pleasure. I can get
Uh,
so much more depth and richness that I hadn't heard before. So, wow, very, very special.
that reminded me to order a white umbrella.
Absolutely. And I remember that Elaine had a whole stack of white umbrellas in her loft somewhere. It was part of the whole mobilier, so to speak. It was one of the things that she kept for exactly these kinds of
Yeah, exactly.
moments. The last image that we're closing on and that we closed on was actually from Vienna. I think it was in 1981 or 1983 when she was. It was before she was under semester. So this was 10 years before Francis, you and she were teaching. So this was 10 years earlier. She was there with Malcolm Goldstein, and there were musicians, and there were some dancers, and she did another invitation to secret dancers in Vienna on the Karlsplatz, on the Karls Plaza. And and in this last photo, they actually used an even earlier dance of hers, which is Dance for Lots of People, which she did at Judson. So certain elements like the coming together, the carrying of one person, those are all elements that you can trace all the way back to Dance for Lots of People, which she showed in 1963 at Judson Memorial Church. So imagine, like 20 years earlier, suddenly you have this thing and you use these elements because they're at hand and you want to try them out again and see what they can do for you with this, and you decide that this group of people is able to actually perform it correctly and does, not hurt themselves, not get into danger, but do it correctly. Wow. So there we are.
Right.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Do you need something else? Because I found something I could share.
Please go ahead.
It's
Yes.
not dance, but it is something I made a long time ago. Let me see. Where is it? Oops. Sorry, it disappeared.
No problem.
Oh, it's down there. Okay. So I would need to share the screen, yes?
Yes, and I will probably be asked if I can give permission for the screen to be shared in the worst case, but yes, you have permission, of course.
Screens. Oh, there we go. Trying to make it, trying to get it up here to open it. Was something I made. There we go. So I'm screen sharing. You see it now. Okay.
Bravo. The same thing happened right now with that happened this morning with the dancers from Rotterdam. They started dancing and they hadn't clicked on the share sound in some way. So it was the usual, Zoom blocking all the sounds from the microphone. But it took me a while before I realized, oh, the sound is not coming through because I was so immersed and mesmerized by the images.
Oh, did it have no sound?
No,
Oh,
didn't come through.
gosh.
You didn't share the sound with it.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. But
Everybody did so
anyway,
far. You're in good company. Everybody did so far on this meeting and these meeting Zooms. So you're joining a tradition here. Bye, Francis.
but I think it would actually be okay without the sound, the images.
Oh,
That
somebody's
is,
talking.
someone is talking somewhere.
Yes. Catherine, you have the radio on. I will mute you for a moment. Hold on. Okay. All right. That was the radio from Catherine. Go ahead.
Okay. So that was all taken in the tiny little area where I live in St. Francis Bay, and the rocks, some of them were from Jeffreys Bay on the southeast tip of Africa. And then some of the orange rocks and the Bushman paintings, the Khoisan paintings, are from the Western Cape. And the elephants are an hour away at the Addo National Elephant Park. But that's the sunsets I see every night, especially in the winter.
And from where you sent the sunrise that opened this very
Yeah.
series. And
Yeah.
you know that later today I will actually close with the sunset that you sent from New York City. So
Oh,
when it's time in New York City for New York City, the sun to
Right.
set, I will actually play your video. So after my
Oh.
action for Jean-Ulrick, I will have to find something else to do. I will probably play some more videos that we have from Experimental Media Foundation and Kiori. But yes, so there we are. Wow, that's beautiful, Francis. And you have it at your doorstep virtually, right? It's like you just have to wow. Do you ever get
Yeah.
used to it?
Also, when I was watching it again, it made me think about how ancient everything is there. I mean, where I come from is where, when there was the Ice Age, people survived down there because the Ice Age was not severe and it didn't reach down there. And so humans survived there by eating bulbs and other, shellfish and stuff. And then, then migrated back up Africa and out to the rest of the world. So I don't know if it came across, but you have a feeling of ancientness that's hard to miss.
Understood. You've been there for quite a while. Do you still discover new things every time that you go there?
All the time.
Got it.
In fact, my mother, who was very keen on plants, was still finding new plants into her 70s and 80s. It's one of the richest, most diverse areas for plants in the world. I mean, the other day on my property, I found a rare orchid that I hadn't seen in 24 years. So it's extraordinary.
Very much so. Wow, what a place to be. Thank you, Francis, for sharing that with us. The
Pleasure.
images were wonderful. What a beautiful contribution to Skytime. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that on Instagram, this has also been streamed on Instagram. And there were a number of people. So Shua Group joined, Meri Tulinen and Sami Lautila joined, Maruel Iliopoulou joined. So lots of people have actually seen this, or may have been able to see this. Ministry of Mart joined through the Artistic Estate of Elaine Summers Instagram. So we're being followed. People take notice. So it has not just been shared with the people here, but through social media and through Restream, it was possible to share it with people who
Right.
don't have Instagram to the Zoom, but at least they can see, even though they cannot like respond directly. Or so there we go. Wow, thank you so very much. Cool. Okay. Officially, we have another maybe 10 minutes before I do my action for Jean-Ulrick. So let's see, what shall we do? We can take a break, which is always a good thing, probably, just to like, because it's been a while. Why don't we do that? Let's take a 10-minute break. I will not stop the live stream. I will just take a 10-minute break. I will turn off my telephone. I will turn off the streaming. If other people want to say something, you're welcome to do so. And I will be back in 10 minutes, and then I will do my action for Jean-Ulrick Désert. So stay tuned. It's coming up in 10 minutes from now, whatever your time is. Any more questions, or everything clear for everybody? People on live stream, people on Instagram, Facebook, and so on. So we will be back in 10 minutes from now at 2150 Universal Time Coordinate, or 11:53 in Rotterdam, or 4:53 in the US. So don't go away. We'll be right back in 10 minutes. My apologies. I should have done the action 2 minutes ago. Let me do it now. So this is for Jean-Ulrick Désert and his Constellation of the Goddess, the Sky Above Haiti, 2010, January 12, 2100 hours and 53 minutes, Universal Time Coordinate. For context, this was a part of an exhibition where Jean-Ulrick Désert exhibited this work in Paris at the Grand Palais. And as a gift to the audience, he had all these posters printed out and deliberately made into small balls. And he would have these balls arranged in baskets, and people were invited to take this as a souvenir for them, so that they could use it. I'm sure that there are many ways why he thought of something that is crumbled, that you can never get completely smooth again. But at the same time, we just have this quote by Derek Walcott about the vase, and that the love of putting the vase together in many ways is a very different one from the one that takes its wholeness and its symmetry for granted. I would like to share the website where you can see this, jeanulrickdesert.com. Let me get that up right away. There we go. And let me share my screen. Okay. So this is the original artwork, the sky above Port-au-Prince. Oh, this is it. And the full title, and here's the time. And again, my apologies, Jean-Ulrick. I was 2 minutes late. I wanted to really do this at 53. In Sky over Port-au-Prince, Haiti, 12th January 2010, Jean-Ulrick Désert illustrates through astrological reenactment an archaeological study of man-made disaster. It is a call to the prehistory of the 7.0 magnitude earthquake which struck 15 miles from the capital and resulted in deaths of approximately 250,000 people, the injury of hundreds of thousands more, and the destruction of an already desolate national infrastructure. It was an apocalyptic scene which owed its direction to the neoliberal structure adjustment of the French and the North Americans, a subjugating economic program which predates the structural adjustment programs proffered upon the newly independent states of the 1950s and 60s. What is difficult to see in this work is, if you look at it very carefully, here, this part, and I'm not sure if this is going to be possible to show. No, it's hard to say. These are actually little coins. These are actually little silver coins of aluminum and silver. And so he painstakingly made sure that the constellation was the exact constellation in France. So this again comes back to your question before. He would actually use a projector for each of the nine of the panels, and then make sure that the star charts were correct for that particular day and that particular time in history. And therefore then he would make sure that each of these was correct. And I was actually helping him when he had this reenacted at the Grand Palais in Paris in 2014. And it's very meditative work to put up this, that comes here, that comes here, that comes here, and so on and so on and so on. So it was quite a work. So what you see here may look decorative, but it has, again, it has a deeper meaning that because of what it represents and why it's coming, if you care to ask. Again, something very typical. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your attention. Let me stop this and share. Okay. All right. The next part is coming, and the next part is all about something from Elaine Summers, and something from Skytime. And this time specifically from the 2010, actually in the same year that the earthquake happened, which I'm just realizing right now as I speak. But yes, even though the earthquake had happened in January, and this was in November 2010. Let me see if I can find the history website very quickly and share it with you right away. Let me check. Well, I can use this one here. Here we go. You will undoubtedly recognize Elaine from the previous video that we showed with Carmen Mu's music, the Rain Dance, Invitation to Secret Dancers. And this is the page I wanted to get to, Skytime history. So as you can see, Skytime began as a dance in 1982 at Iowa University as part of the Second Intermedia Art Festival. And it was a very, very large performance that I will not go into that time, but you can find it on the Skytime website. If you scroll all the way down to history, you can find it and you can watch it in your own time. Then Skydance became Skydance Skytime at the Guggenheim in 1984, where Elaine worked again with Otto Pine, the same artist who we worked with in 1982. But this time Carmen Moore did the music, and all three of them worked together at the Guggenheim. Here's a poster not entirely unlike what I have just done as a live action. And another heat record. 1996, this was the very first page of skytime.org, Elaine's website that she had up. 10 years before I had my first website up, just for starters. And so here's where I'm coming close. In 2010, Juliet Mapp had invited Elaine to come to New York City as a series of people who would come back to the city. And she very much wanted Elaine to be there. So we had a concert, Improvisation with Sun, Moon and Stars, at Dance Space Project, March 18, 19 and 20, 2010. And I was part of that concert, as a matter of fact, but unofficially. And I went there to study how Elaine would use projection in her work. And later that same year, in November, here you go, November 5th, we were part of Ion's annual Dream Festival, the 15th iteration of a Dream Festival. And Paulina Oliveros came and did music, and Kiori Kawai danced in for I think about an hour in this magnificent scattering of sky and galaxies, swirling galaxies. And that's the first part that I'm going to show right here. Let's see if I can give it full screen. Oh, but I realized I didn't share the sound, so let me go back and share it one more time and then share the sound. Hold on. So I don't know if you could see at the very end. Uh, and we used Skype. That was the weirdest part. It was quite simple, actually. Well, I don't know how simple it was to get the camera into the computer and get Skype to understand what the camera was saying. But Adolfo Estrada Vargas, filmmaker, Argentinian filmmaker, no, Mexican filmmaker, I'm sorry, Mexican filmmaker, um, filmed me live, and we were very lucky because we could have Pauline's music and the video of what was shown, what was happening in New York City, live streamed back to us in Rotterdam. So even though I could not look at the camera myself all the time, but I had Adolfo's wife, then wife, Marina Breton. She would direct and say, now Chiara is doing this, now she's doing this, and now she's doing this. And she would basically help me with a kind of live dramaturgy so that I would be more able to know what I could do there. And as next, I would like to show you 5 minutes condensed of what I did in Rotterdam so that you can see what happened there. For context, it was 1 hour 45 1:45 in the morning here for me. I was super excited to go that late in a way. It was pouring rain afterwards, so I had just made an event of myself because I felt I should show people something, and I did. So I did a workshop. I did my own piece, walking consensus for Skytime with a projection of the day sky onto the walking dancers, and I'll be happy to show that piece later after this part. Either way, so here are 5 minutes of just seeing what I had done in Rotterdam in 2010. It was a magical moment. Let me see if I can get it up.
Okay.
Wait, but I started it already. Let me get back. Okay, here it comes.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you ready to go bigger or you go close-ups?
Hmm?
Now you come together. Yes. Yes, she's raising one hand, saying bye-bye to you back. kind of finishing.
I'm also finished.
Yes.
Ik ben ook klaar. Maar hoe gaan we eindigen? Any suggestions?
She went on the ground to finish.
Grab this thing
And
and
they come around. Yes.
Cool. And maybe Gato, you should go now to a light or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to do.
Really, really dark, I think. With her hand like something like.
Whatever you do, don't go total.
I think you can.
Okay, music is finished. No. Finished. Yes. I think it's done.
Well, so people who were here yesterday, they could see that the motive of the pilot at the airplane is an echo from 1982 from the Iowa performance, where you had a duet, and then Elaine did the same thing again between a pilot and a woman, or somebody who presented as female in any case, again with Douglas Dunn and Gabriella Hyatt in Skytime, in the same Skytime concert we did. I think it was 2010 at that concert that we did in Dance Space. So there are echoes of these motives of Elaine's work coming through and by. And anything else I can say? Oh, yes. I am actually using the very same internet cables that I bought back then because we got our internet through Ethernet because I knew that Wi-Fi would be way too uncertain. I realized that early on. So as a matter of fact, instead, I bought two 100-meter Ethernet cables. And I still have those cables today. So as a matter of actually, the ones that I'm using right now to stream these with these two computers are the same Ethernet cables that I bought back then in 2010. And I'm still using them and they still work and they're still doing what they're supposed to do. Yay, there we are. Okay, I wanted to show you one more thing that is part of this piece. In 2005, inspired by Elaine's Skytime project, I decided to have a first blog because I was starting to learn how to do blogging. And as you can see, this is still a very simple way of blogging. And I called it The Sky Above Rotterdam, like Wim Wenders, of course. You know, as a European, I have to go for the European sources. And these are still taken with my cell phone back then, which was a 2003 cell phone. And so it is very low quality, but this is a building that's in Rotterdam Centrum, and I love how the clouds and the building were making this moment together. And I'm sure that the architect has thought of this very carefully. And so when you step out of Central Station in Rotterdam, this is one of the buildings that you see to your left. And it was one of the first buildings I saw when I arrived in Rotterdam in 1992 for the audition. As I said before, I was making my own performance part as part of the whole event, because I realized if people want to come and see me, this is a chance for me to do my own stuff there, which I did. So in 2010, first of all, I started this blog called Skywalkers and translated everything into Dutch. And I don't know if I have the photos. Well, we have this early promo video of me dancing on the church. This is from a
Rolling.
rehearsal. This says in Dutch, a church full of stories. This is the Lawrence Church, one of the oldest churches in Rotterdam city center, which was being renovated at the time. So all of this was organized in Rotterdam, and so in a way, it was a double concert, even though the Rotterdam concert was much later than the usual concerts go. But a few people actually came. So a few people came and did Walking Consensus Skytime, which is a score that I made here. And I will show it another time or later, but I will show it at some point later this evening. Either way, so this was all about Elaine's Skytime. Any questions, comments, anything you'd like to say or share on the bass, anything else you'd like to know or that you would like to discuss? Now is a good moment if you wish, if anybody wishes to. If everybody's happy, then I will go on with the next part. I should have shown this part a long time earlier, but I do it now because now is the time. This is Dawn Nelson, an Irish storyteller. I found this on the internet and she very kindly agreed that I could share it. So here we are, a story of the sun and the stars and the east of stars and moon, a Norwegian story that she tells. Without further ado, here we go, Dawn. Take it away. Whoops, I'm not sharing yet. Hold on. Let me do this with sharing and with sound.
Hello and welcome to Stories of the Sun and Moon, told by me, Dawn Nelson, a professional storyteller with a passion for nature, landscape and heritage connection. As we follow the Wheel of the Year, I will be sharing folk tales from the English and Scandinavian traditions that focus on the sun and the moon, the light and the dark, the day and the night. We are starting our journey with a stara, the point in the year where the day and the night are in balance. It is the time of the vernal equinox, which is typically celebrated between the 21st and 23rd of March. And in celebration of this balance, I am taking you on a quest to find a castle that sits east of the sun and west of the moon. Back in a time when there was snow on the ground in winter, when the earth had a frost upon it that was so hard that you could not grow things in it at all, and the winters were long. There was a family, a large family, and this man and his wife had several daughters, and they had yet for any of them to marry. The family was starting to get to the point where it was difficult for them to support them all. Money was hard. So when one winter's night, when the moon was full, and a bear came knocking on the door, a talking bear no less, a white polar bear, and it asked for the hand of the youngest daughter in exchange for riches beyond their wildest dreams, well, you'd think that the father would have hesitated more than he did. But as I say, times were hard, and so he did not think twice about marrying his daughter to a bear. Instead, he went inside and he spoke to his daughter, and he explained how there was a bear at the door who wishes to marry her, and here's why he thought she should do it. The bear says he will make us richer than we could possibly imagine, and we would have no more suffering if you will marry this polar bear. The young girl, she looked out of the window into the moonlit night, and there on the doorstep was a bright white bear. But what she saw was coarse fur, blood around his mouth from his last meal, his sharp canines hanging over his lips, and his black claws in the snow. And she turned to her father and she said, "There's no way I'm marrying that." The father was not without feeling. He wasn't going to force his daughter to do this, and so he went back to the door and told the bear that he should come back in a week's time, and that he would work on his daughter and convince her that this was a good idea, but that it did, after all, need to be the daughter's choice. The bear agreed and walked off towards the mountains. Over the week, the father talked to the daughter of all the wonderful riches they would have, how they would not be eating gruel every evening, and that they'd have meat and potatoes, fresh vegetables, and maybe even fruit. They wouldn't need to worry, and the snow that was currently falling on the table through the roof would no longer be a problem, as they could fix that hole. The daughter looked around the table and saw the sallow cheeks of her sisters. She saw how you could see their ribs through their worn clothes. She saw her mother's concerned face and the fear in her father's. And so she agreed, heavy-heartedly, that when the polar bear returned, she would leave with him. The polar bear did return, and this time she saw a bear with fur as soft as down, and when she got up onto his back, he kept his sharp canines away from her, and his jet black eyes were kind. She found herself thinking, perhaps this would not be so bad. The bear carried her far away over the frozen lands until they reached a castle. It was a magnificent castle, and when she went in, there was a table laid with more food than she could possibly eat, and in her bedroom, laid on the four-poster bed, there were fresh clothes made of velvets and silks, and the bear told her that should she want for anything, well then she should just ring the bell that sat on her bedside table, and a servant would appear. Indeed, she wanted for nothing. At night she retired to an opulent bedroom with silk sheets and a mattress that was far away from the sack of straw she had slept on at home. And after she turned the lights out, somebody would come to her bed. It was not the bear, though. This was a man, and she spent many a night with him. She was very happy with this arrangement, and it continued over many months. She would have the run of the castle and anything she ever wished for, and barely ever saw the polar bear, but each night the man appeared in the bedroom and got into bed beside her. She imagined from the stories that she had heard when she was younger that this must be the bear who had shed his skin, but it was always dark, and the man insisted on that. And so she was left to imagine what this handsome prince must look like, the one who had saved her and her family from poverty. The memories of these stories and sitting beside the fire listening to them with her family meant that she became homesick, and the bear saw the change in her and asked her what ailed her. When she explained that she was homesick, he said that she may return home for one day, but that should her mother try to get her on her own and talk to her, she must refuse and not listen under any circumstances. She must not listen to anything her mother tried to say, because whatever she said, it would only be their downfall. The girl agrees. She wants to see her family. The house is much changed when she returns, and a manor house now stands in its place. Her family are overjoyed to see her, and a huge feast is prepared. They ask her to tell them of her life, and so she does. She talks of the fine food and clothes she now has, and how kind the bear is to her, but that she is at times lonely. And so she is very pleased that the bear has allowed her to come home, if only for one day. When her mother asks to speak to her privately after dinner, well, she tries to refuse, but mothers are persuasive, and she soon finds herself sat alone with her mother beside the fire. Her mother presses her to tell her what her nights are like. The daughter knows what the mother is asking, and so she reassures her that it is a man that she sleeps with, albeit in the dark, but a man nonetheless. "This is no way to live," says the mother. "You must know what he looks like. You are man and wife. Surely you should know." The daughter again reassures her that it is fine and that she is happy with this arrangement. She returns home with the bear that evening, and the words of her mother play on her mind. Beside the bed there is a tallow candle, and some days later, when she is sure the man that is in her bed is asleep, she lights it and holds it up to see him. He is indeed the most beautiful man she has ever seen, and surely of royal blood. And as she is watching him sleep, a small amount of the tallow drops from the candle onto his shoulder and runs over his collarbone. He awakes instantly, flings himself out of the bed and shouts, "What are you doing? What have you done? I told you, you must not listen to your mother. I had a curse upon me, and if we could have just got through this year of living this way, well, then the curse would have been lifted. But now I must leave, and I may never return, for I am to travel to the castle that is east of the sun and west of the moon. There I must marry the troll who has cursed me." The girl begs him to stay, and that they will find a way to lift the curse, but he leaves, as he must, as it is foretold. The next morning, after a sleepless night hoping her husband would return, she takes matters into her own hands, and she decides that she must take the journey to the castle that her husband spoke of and find him. She packs up clothes and food and heads out into the frozen lands. She asks many people along the way where the castle that is east of the sun and west of the moon stands, but none of them know, until finally she reaches a cave high up in the mountains. There a woman with a face etched with wisdom is tending a small fire, and so the girl approaches her. As she does, she sees that the woman is rolling a golden apple back and forth across the earth. She asks the woman if she knows where the castle that is east of the sun and west of the moon stands, and the woman looks up. "I have heard of this place, and I have heard of the prince who is to marry a troll. Are you the woman who seeks him?" "I am," the girl replies. "I am, and I will do anything to find him." "Very well. Take this golden apple, for I do not know where the castle is, but my sister may, and she lives in the North Mountains. You may use my horse that runs faster than the wind to get there." The girl takes the horse and reaches the mountains of the north, where there is another cave with a woman sat beside a fire, this time running wool through a golden carding comb. She says, "Your sister has sent me to see if you know where the castle is that is east of the sun and west of the moon," and the woman looks up. "I have heard of this place, and I have heard of the prince who is to marry a troll. Are you the woman who seeks him?" "I am," the daughter replies. "I am, and I will do anything to find him." "Very well. Take this golden carding comb, for I do not know where the castle is, but my sister may, and she lives in the South Mountains. You may use my horse that runs faster than the wind to get there." The girl again takes the horse and reaches the mountains of the south, and there is another cave with another woman sat beside a fire, this time spinning wool on a golden spinning wheel. And the girl says, "Your sister has sent me to see if you know where the castle is that is east of the sun and west of the moon," and the woman looks up. "I have heard of this place, and I have heard of the prince who is to marry a troll. Are you the woman who seeks him?" "I am," the daughter replies. "I am, and I will do anything to find him." "Very well. I do not know where the castle is, but the north wind does," and the woman calls up the north wind and tells him of the journey the girl has come on, and the north wind agrees to take her to the castle. The woman of the South Mountains, as her sisters before her have done, gifts the girl the golden spinning wheel, wishes her luck, and off the girl goes across the land and sea to the castle that is east of the sun and west of the moon. As the girl approaches the castle, she sits herself beneath the highest tower, which has a window at the top of it, for she has been told enough stories to know that if you wait beneath a castle window long enough, especially one in a tower, well, soon enough a princess will appear at the window. She also knew that trolls desired gold, and so as she waited, she played with the golden apple. The apple glinted in the sun, and it soon caught the eye of the troll princess high up in the tower. The troll leaned out of the window and called down to the girl. "What have you got there? Is it gold I see? What will you take for it? How much?" "I will take no money," the girl called back. "Instead, I would like one night with your betrothed." "One night with my husband-to-be?" The troll thought a while. "Very well." And so it was arranged. The girl thought that once she was in the presence of the prince, well, then she could let him know that she had found him and that they could be together once more. Only the troll was a little cleverer than that. And she had placed a sleeping draught in the prince's evening wine, and he was sound asleep all night, leaving the girl no opportunity to speak to him. Instead, all she could do was sing of her lost love and her plight to find him. The next day the girl waited once more below the window of the tower, and this time she worked the wool with the carding comb until the troll appeared at the window once more. "I see you have more gold," the troll princess called down. "What will you take for it this time?" "Another night with your husband-to-be," called the girl. "Very well, much good it'll do you," replied the troll, and it was again arranged. But the same situation came to pass, and the girl was not able to talk to her husband, who was sound asleep, thanks to the troll's sleeping draught. This time her singing was heard by the guests that had gathered in the castle for the troll and the prince's wedding, and they started to talk of the story her song had told. The prince catches these conversations, and he asks the guests what they are talking of. They tell him the story the girl has sung, and that they are sure the singing came from the prince's room. He is confused, for, to his knowledge, there has been no woman in his room at night. But the guests insist that that is where the singing came from. It is then that he realises that he must have been given a sleeping draught, and the girl singing the story, his story, must be the girl with the tallow candle that he left in the castle far away. The next day the girl tries one last time. This time she sits beneath the window with the golden spinning wheel. The troll is once more tempted, and the girl once more requests one night in her husband's room, and the troll agrees, confident in the knowledge that her groom will sleep very soundly. This time, though, the prince has not drunk the sleeping draught, and instead he pretends to be asleep. The girl enters the room, and she sings once more, and as she does, her tears fall upon his shoulder where the tallow fell that fateful night, and in doing so they wash away the mark that is left there. The prince reveals that he is in fact awake, and that her quest and tears in finding him have lifted the curse. The people are overjoyed that their prince will no longer have to marry a troll, and that they will no longer have a troll for a queen, and so the troll is banished to the mountains once more. She will be back one day, have no doubt about it. That's probably a story for another day. But for now, as far as I know, the prince and his true bride lived very happily for many, many years in the castle that was east of the sun and west of the moon. East of the Sun, West of the Moon is a Norwegian tale collected by Peter Asbjørnsen and Jørgen Moe, retold by Dawn Nelson.
Let me stop this. Well, it doesn't matter really. Here is the website of the woman who recounted this story so beautifully and who kindly gave permission to use it. This is Dawn, thebarddawn.co.uk. If you want to listen to more stories, you can find them there, or maybe you wish to engage her in an event of your own. As you can see here, as you could hear, she's a beautiful storyteller, really knows how to do so very well. And again, I think it's phenomenal that I came upon this story because I was looking for sun, moon, and stars, and this was suggested by the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm. And I started listening to it, and I really liked it. And I thought, oh, this is a beautiful story. This would be a beautiful contribution. And I emailed her, and she replied within days, and very kindly said yes, if I would refer to her and say who this story was from and refer to her website, which I'm hereby doing, then it would be fine. We could actually share. Okay. Let me stop sharing. No, this is going wrong. There we go. Okay. Stop. Whatever. Sorry. There we go. Stop share. Bye. Okie dokie. Well, officially, I was going to start the sunset that Francis had sent me in half an hour from now. And I wonder if it would be okay if I would let go of that, because then I could simply go to bed. It's almost midnight here. And I would get up tomorrow morning at midnight Eastern Standard Time, and I would start the last part telling everybody goodbye. I may find another video of Austronesian seafarers, since it's about the Pacific Islands, and this time how the Micronesian seafarer elder was invited to Hawaii and then listened to there and built his school there and had his followers there, so that Hawaiians would rediscover how to use the same sailing techniques that their ancestors had used when they came all the way from Taiwan on their quest through Papua and all these islands, all the way up to Hawaii, down to Rapa Nui, Easter Island, and all the way westward to Madagascar, the island of Madagascar. So, Francis, if you're okay with that, I would very much like to ask to be absolved from this one quest.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you want, I mean, I can leave it on. You could share it yourself if you have the video and you know how to share it. It's a beautiful video that is up. So that's something that we can do. I mean, even if I would go to bed now, all of you can still stay here and wait for Francis to share the video, as you wish. As you wish.
No, I think let's not, because it's on my phone. I've got to figure out. Yeah, let's leave it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, double thank you for gracefully giving permission to have your video another time, and to put up another time.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, then, this means that we are at the end of today's live stream. The only one other will be for me tomorrow morning and for you around midnight your time. So, before I forget, now that this is an important part, and this is something I do want to share, because I want to share with you no, I don't know what's happening here. I want to share with you the link to the video.
Oh, you were going to share with us the, yeah.
Finish, exactly. That I will do.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me do that right away. So first I will share it in the chat. And then I will show you the website so that you can see which website it is. Oh no, that's actually the website. Hold on. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to show you the actual movie. Oh, sorry. Apologies. It really is getting late, and I've been on with this for 2 days, so it's hacking up. Let me stop the share. Yes. Let me read you the recommendation so that you understand where and how this comes. Viewing recommendation: a dark, quiet room or space, good sound system, and the largest screen possible. The duration is 16 minutes. Origo dance film, Art Leotola Risberg, Skytime, Elaine Summers Centennial Celebrations. So this is one of the most successful collaborations in the sense that we both made sure to feature each other on Instagram back and forth, always using those hashtags for each time that we posted about each other's works. And that way we created a connection between our networks. So people could find either the three Skytime, Elaine Summers Centennial Celebrations hashtags, or the hashtags that they used, and therefore people can meet the two together. I will not start showing anything about the movie. I would like you to see it for yourself, but please do see it if you can. It's really worth it. And I will share the link again. Let me try and share this in the Instagrams as well and on Facebook. Let me try if I can do that, because then you can actually watch it yourself, and then leave you to it. So from now on, I will just be here technically. If you want to speak or chat, that's fine. I will leave my mic on just in case so you can hear me working. And otherwise, I thank you all for getting this far. This was phenomenal. This was quite something. It was a labor of love. It was an enormous learning process. Frances kept telling me, I was complaining to her, like, oh, this is not working, that's not working, I still have to do this or that and the other. And Frances kept saying, well, yes, it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. We're learning. That's what we do. And that's what Eva Karzak said too. Big thanks to Eva Karzak. Again, without her, she was a driving force in the becoming, especially yesterday, today, the beginning. So it is very nicely, everything comes together very, very nicely. Everybody who shared their work, amazing thanks for everybody. It's wonderful what you did, and I'm more than happy to have everything come together. Thank you to the New York Public Library at the Performing Arts, the Jerome Robbins Dance Division, where Elaine's archives are, the definitive archives. Thanks to the heirs of Elaine Summers, who generously allow us to use her work in ways like these, so that because they know that we help to keep her memory alive. The next thing that's happening, put it in your agendas, is on July 27th at Lincoln Center, out of doors in New York City. Frances Becker, our very Frances Becker, who is here right now, is going to direct her version or her restaging of Elaine Summers' Hidden Forest from 2007. A later work, very complex work, and Frances can tell you all about it whenever you ask her. If she wants, you can do it now. It's the next big event that we have in our list of centennial celebrations. Frances, if you want to say anything, maybe this is a good moment while I keep working on my stuff, and I will mute myself so you don't hear the
I
sound.
don't seem to be able to get my video on. It says you're disabled by the host. Start my video. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so Hidden Forest is being reenacted at Lincoln Center on the 27th of July at about 8 o'clock. We'll be waiting for the sun to go down, and the lighting is natural light. The piece is an intermediate piece, the last big piece that Elaine made. There are 8 dancers, 5 musicians, and 6 projectionists. And the projectors project video that was made from another piece of Elaine's, which was Flowing Rocks, Still Waters, which I was in the 80s. And that is projected onto the leaves of the trees and onto the ground and the walls of Lincoln Center. And then, it's a very beautiful piece. It's inspired by Dante and Italo Calvino, making the visible invisible. And the training process is interesting because each dancer is trained individually, and then we only come together as a group a few days before the performance. And so each person has got a very individual approach to the performance. So come and join us at Lincoln Center on the 27th of July. Thank you.
Thank you, Frances.
Okay.
It's wonderful. Okay. Groovy. Take it from our Centennial Special Director, Frances Becker. You want to be there. You want to absolutely see it. Well, yes.
I forgot to mention that Carmen Moore is writing new music.
New music?
Because he's using the music. The dancer is... Sorry, I'm getting something on my phone. The dancers, the singer is the same, Lotta Arnsberg, who was in it before, beautiful singer. There's a 4-part ensemble with a flautist who also plays saxophone, a violinist, and a bassist, electric bass. And Ion's poem will be set to music this time. So last time when Pauline Oliveris was alive, she played accordion and Ione spoke the poem, but many people didn't hear it. So this time it's actually being, there'll be a microphone and you'll hear it and it will be set to music.
Wow.
So that'll be different. And then we're going to end the performance with an invitation to secret dances so the audience can get up and dance to Carmen's music, actually rain dance, and end on a really celebratory note for Elaine's centennial.
Wow.
So come and join us.
Do come and join Frances if you can at all. If you're anywhere near, then everybody who's out there in the listening on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, if you can at all, go there and join us and make sure that Frances's work is seen. And I already wish her all the very best for it. Take good care for that. On you go, Frances. Take it from here. All right. So tomorrow morning, I will have the last little bit and then tell everybody goodbye. And that will be the official end of Skytime 2025, a year and a day. It has been a year that I've been working on this. I started actually working on this a little earlier, but it was a year that we tried last year. It was a very beginning. And this year was the conclusion. So this is the centennial conclusion of Skytime. And so after this, things will be very different. I will sleep for a while. And I will rest for a while. That's for sure. It has been wonderful to be with everybody. The journey, I can complain about the workload and the energy, but I would not have missed the amazing moments of communication with everybody. And one thought I have is to probably put all the live streams on the web page so that you can look at it on your own whenever you want. Maybe there is a way to do that because YouTube can actually do that. So I will try to do the program that in the next few days whenever I have an eye awake and I can program that. And I will let you know. Okay, everybody. Have a lovely time. Look at the sky. This has been Skytime, skytime.org. www.skytime.org, an intermedia piece by Elaine Summers, inviting all of us to celebrate the sky. The sky is ours all together. Consider the wonders of it all. Goodbye, everybody, and good night. And don't forget to watch Origo. Enjoy. I will do too before I go to bed. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.